generally speaking, connectivity on board is more important to deciding which shipping company they wish to work with, even more so than salary. There's a lot of studies out there to suggest that many seafarers, the first thing they'll ask when they're given a job offer is how much internet will I get while I'm on board. My name's Carl King. I'm the founder of Seafarer Social Consultants Limited. We work with both the private sector and the public sector, and anybody whose end users is seafarers. We figure out how we can create communication strategies that engage with the next generation of seafarers. Social media has become a very important tool for seafarers because in COVID time, what we saw happen is many seafarers were stranded at sea. Not just in the cruise industry, but also in the commercial industry. And many of the seafarers started videoing what was going on. So there was a lot of interest from all of us at home who were in lockdown. And many seafarers were stuck at sea, and they started picking up their cameras and filming their lifestyle on board. All of a sudden, what happened during 2020 time is we saw a huge growth in what we call seafarer influencers. So these men and women who were filming fantastic videos and getting a lot of traffic and attention from the outside world. It's the first time this has ever really happened. And since then, what's happened is more and more of these young generation content creators are coming into seafaring, interested in expressing themselves. And I think it's a fantastic way to actually appeal to the next generation. Just yesterday, there was a session by BIMCO, who are talking about a new report that's coming out called the Seafarer Workforce Report. And in this report, it basically says what each major nationality, a pub, have in terms of numbers of seafarers, so Philippines, China, India. And one of the things that they're saying is we are struggling to recruit more and more seafarers, but equally at the same time, more ships are being built. In 2021, there was around 75,000. In 2026, around 85,000. It's 10,000 new vessels. Times FY25, that's the amount of seafarers that we need to get just over the last 5 years. So the demand is growing, and I think social media is a really good tool to actually engage with seafarers and tell them that this is a possible career for them. Seafaring has always been something that's sort of in the shadows. Constantly shipping gets compared to aviation, right? And if you look at how aviation is, and you look at Top Gun as a movie, right? You have the image of the captain who's walking through the airport, the air hostess is behind him with the prim and proper air, everybody's making way, they get access to go through immigration lines quicker and all this sort of stuff. They get a really luxury treatment. And it's quite common for young people to see this, observe it, and then aspire to become a pilot. But you don't get that with seafaring. Seafaring's been in the shadows, and I think in 2026, what you're seeing is that young people, and I'm a young guy, so I'm 29, generally speaking, they want to show to the world what they're doing. They want to flex. They want people to know they have a job which is meaningful. So I think from a personal level, it allows seafarers to be creative. But also from a professional perspective, it's also a done-for-you marketing scheme for the shipping companies. They actually don't need to necessarily create stringent marketing strategies. Give it to your seafarers. Yeah. They can essentially, like I said, build that recruitment pyramid for you. So I think it helps every single playmaker and stakeholder in the industry. But what's really important is that equally at the same time, this is an incredibly a locked down environment, right? You're talking about vessels that could be worth $200 million plus the cargo. You're looking at, a $400 or $500 million asset, right? So from a security perspective, there has to be rules and regulations. But I do think it's actually incredibly beneficial, both personally and professionally. I've worked with people in the SATCOMs industry. Generally speaking, connectivity on board is more important to deciding which shipping company they wish to work with, even more so than salary. There's a lot of studies out there to suggest that many seafarers, the first thing they'll ask when they're given a job offer is how much internet will I get while I'm on board, right? So this is actually a deciding factor in who they wish to work which is number one. The second thing is, okay, so you have 25 people on a vessel, let's say. How can social media bring those people together? Because it's very easy for, once people have finished doing their watch, to just go back into the cabin, sit there, scroll, and disconnect from their peers. So we're in a really interesting moment of time where leadership specifically is becoming very, very important to be able to monitor that, right? You don't want to parent the seafarers, these are adults. But equally at the same time, it's very important that they come back to the messaging and they come together as one. So I think that social media is a fantastic tool. It allows them to stay in touch with the outside world. It allows them to, again, show people, their friends, their followers, what they're doing. It allows them to stay in touch with their family and friends. And also, next level connectivity allows them to do their banking from home. It allows them to keep doing side hustles. These things are great, but it's very important that 25 people that are isolated from the rest of the world create a relationship that's strong. That's within the interest of the company and the vessel. So there has to be a balance between using social media as an adult, but disciplined enough to be able to still maintain a good relationship with your crew. So we see from the big companies, right? Your Harper Lloyds or Murph, these guys just open up their social media pages, their Instagram. They invest a lot of time and attention, I guess. They have the luxury of having the budgets to do so, right? But the continuous thing you see throughout the theme of these big playmakers is a real emphasis on human, the human element of their business, right? All of the videos you see Murph's posting is to do with their crew, is to do with their logistics team, and how their lifestyle and their workforce engages with the brands. And they've identified this as a really good theme for social media content because it puts them in a great light. It's a fantastic PR move, and it also helps with recruitment. So I think the big guys have sort of created a standard, and what we're trying to do is trying to see how we can let the little guys who maybe don't have as big of a budget and flexibility, but still have the capability of creating content that allows them to stand at the stage to figure rise. So I think it's a really, really good move. And we're seeing it happen at the top level. It's just about bringing it down to the medium and small level companies as well. So I think it's incredibly important that every seafarer speaks and works with a shore-based communication team. So I was in Singapore recently, and there was a very big shipping company whose communications officer I spoke with went for coffee, and she said it's really difficult sometimes because we are the company, this is our brand, they're on our assets. But if they post something, and even if something small is not wearing a safety helmet, right? Once that goes out and that's public knowledge, they have no more control. And that can cause serious damage to the brand, but also insurance policies. So I think it's very important as a whole that the seafarers work the rescue of their shore-based communication team to make sure that it fits within the line so everybody's on the same page. But a lot of shipping companies, again, it's within their interest to do these videos. So there should be cohesion between the shore-based team and the seafarers to be able to create social media content. And I think most do that very well. This will grow further and further because the workforce is becoming younger. And you're now talking about Gen Z seafarers who have only ever known a world of digitalization, right? The older generation is slowly starting to move on. Years ago, I have a guy called Chief McCoy who's an influencer, but he's retired now, ex-chief engineer, and he would talk about when he first went on board, he would send letters to his wife and wait months sometimes to receive a response. Those days are over. We live in a world now where connectivity is fast and cheap. And we have to accept that every Gen Z seafarer normalizes this as a requirement when they come aboard to any job. So I think it's here and it's here to stay. But I think as an industry that's always been in the shadows, we have to accept that we need to come into the light a little bit more. And I think it's about adapting a strategy that works to both key stakeholders here, a shipping company, but also the seafarer. We should allow seafarers to be creative if they wish to be. But we should also have respect and understandings for rules and regulations the shipping company has. Because ultimately they're the employer. and it's their asset, and that must be respected at all times. And there's also an owner usually as well. So as long as everybody's working in a fair, balanced environment, I think social media is only going to get bigger and bigger in shipping. We look at what we're doing now. This never happened 5, 10 years ago in shipping. So I think it's a very good communication strategy, not just for us, the corporates, but also for the proof. And I think it's only going to get bigger and bigger.